we here? Are we doing this? Are we live? Am I live? Is this pre-recorded? Hang on, let me embrighten myself a bit. Quacko, hello. Connor, hello. Harand, hello. Oh, good. Betty, I'm glad. Julian, hello. Okay. Let's do some stuff today. Big plans. Cosluce, hello. What do we do on Wednesday? Yes, Harand. I even at one point said, "Where is Harand? I need his help," because we, as a group, as the collective, separated out the gun rendering from the background rendering, and the host of issues with post-processing effects was almost untenable, but we powered through, and now we have a gun on rendered separately. It is 100% Harand's fault. It would have been solved a lot quicker if he were here. Solo Dev, hello. Monsihi1, hello. Sam, hello. Jackie, hello. Natherius, hello. Thank you. That is the going tax. Hello from England to Finland. Hello. And I assume your name is some sort of swizzle. Okay, let me think. Right, let me go. I did a little bit. What did I do off stream? I did a little bit off stream. I don't think I did loads. What did I do? I will move the screen in a minute. I'm just trying to remind myself what I did. Okay, I just tweaked around with the scene a little bit. Yeah, let me show everyone where we're at. So I was messing around. So lights are now, you can now attach a light to an entity and it moves with it. And then what I did was I added this little light here and I attached the light to it. And then the coroutine now changes the light intensity, but also changes the emissive value of the light. So it should look like it's kind of glowing, which I thought was kind of cool. And now wherever you move that light, wherever you move that light render entity, the light moves with it. And the gun is now always on top as well. So if I walk into the wall, it's pretty pucker. So I think I did that, and then I tweaked some of the dynamic lighting things so it's not quite so dark, and then this weird hanging little thing apparently is another light, but if you get up to it, it goes a little darker. I don't know if that's a bug because you're right below the light, but anyway. And then I don't think I've done anything in here, but it's getting there. It feels like the world's coming together a little bit now, which is nice. So we're going through here. I do like the ground light. Like it does bleed through the walls a little bit, so I don't think this corner here should get the light because the light's technically forward a bit, but I don't really have the effort to fix that. I think it's kind of okay for now, but I'm quite pleased with that. I think that's quite cool. And in fact, if I go into the editor, oh, Harand, we now have a view frustum debug layer. It's true, yeah. So if you grab the light fixture, then wherever you move it, the light automatically moves with it. So if we wanted it up here, we can move up there, and then like that. I don't think that lighting calculation is right, but hey ho, it's good enough for now. Yeah, the gun's all good, and then what we can do is we can select the player camera and we can look through it. So this is the debug UI, but looking through a specific camera, and then we can select the I can't select the gun. There you go, select the gun, and then we could actually tweak it right through the camera's eye. So if we're like, actually, it should be like, I don't know. Yeah. It's like, oh no, definitely should be like that. Then we can go back and it'll be like that now. That's cool. So yeah, it's definitely getting there. The fourth mode at the bottom. So the first one is the SAO buffer, then the albedo pass, then the normal map, then the world space, which we should be able to pre-compute, and then the using the depth buffer. And then the next one is the specular and emissive baked into one texture. So that's why it's a mixture of those colors, because it's only using the R and the G channel. So yeah, it's definitely getting there. The normal map doesn't get baked in for the gun doesn't get baked into the normal map anymore because of the way we do it in multiple layers, but it's absolutely fine. I do not care. Also, the normals are absolutely fucked for this mesh. Oh, what was that shit? So I don't know if I'm going to fix that or if I have the capacity to fix that. Like, I'm sure a lot of the normals are balked on this, but it's fine. Oh, and I put a light here. Not that you can tell, but there's now a light here. There's a light here with a little. Oh, you can't actually see anything because this gun's in the way. But there's a little light model there, little light that's not normally there. So that's cool. Yes, basically I can't use render dock, so I have to. It's very much a case of we have render dock at home, and this is the render dock I have at home. Cool. Okay, so my grand plan for today. I want to draw a line, which I know sounds ambitious, but also actually kind of lame given the fact that we're already drawing many lines. I want to be able to draw, I want to be able to click and then draw a ray from the center of the camera outwards and stop at anything that we shoot and have it staying there so we can inspect it. Basically, it's the first parts of the shooting mechanics, right? I want to be able to... Good one. Yeah, so I want to be able to have that as the debug, but we must as always go on a small side quest first, because I do not like the way the current debug information is rendered. Basically, the debug renderer kind of amasses everything, including this like weird like debug lines thing. I don't even know where. How does the physics engine work? Don't we have a physics debug renderer sticks that in a... So yeah, so like so for instance, like Jolt accumulates its own lines, and then we have to get that into the debug renderer, and then it's all a bit of a mess. What I want is my vision for today is to enable any part of the game to be able to render lines and cubes and maybe a few other shapes. I think it's going to be so important for us debugging going forward that we're in the middle of some game logic and we're like, oh, we really just need to see what's going on. Let's render some lines. So I want to add to the global service locator, which is a bunch of global variables by a better name, a debug info object. And that's immediate mode, basically. So every frame that you want to draw something, anyone can grab that and throw some lines in it, and then the renderer will just, at the end, pick that up, clear it, and then render them all. So that's the plan. I think that would really help us. Because I was thinking about this, because I was like, oh, yeah, my goal for this stream should be to draw a line when we shoot. And I was like, how the hell am I going to get the player actor, right, like on mouse click here to draw a line? I don't want to pass the renderer in. I don't really want to pass the scene in. Like, I think we just need a general high level immediate mode debug info thing that we can just throw stuff at it. And so I think that will help us out quite a lot in the future. Because I think we can just keep expanding that. So you could be able to draw lines, cubes, wireframes maybe, text. You know, it will be a global service. It will go in the service locator, right? So we'll have a spoiler alert, but we'll have something like a class like I don't know, debug info. I don't know, like debug UI. I don't really know what we're going to call it yet. So I'm going to have to decide soon, because I'm going to have to make a class for it. Debug info might be best, and then we can just throw stuff at it. And then the renderer, but I actually want to change at the same time two big changes in one go, which is always works for us. I want both the renderer and the debug renderer to be able to render out the debug info, and I want the user of this class to be able to specify which one. Basically, at the moment, the problem is you only get those debug lines and cubes and gubbins when you're looking through the fly cam, which is all right, but actually during gameplay, we might need to, like, when I'm running around in the gameplay, I don't really care where the lights are per se. Like, that's effectively the level editor's problem. But I might want to see, whilst I'm playing, I don't know, collision shapes for enemies. I might want to see, you know, the rays of the things I've shot. I might want to see the area effect of grenades. So basically the plan is that when you are pushing stuff to this immediate mode class, you will also specify at the same time whether it's going to go in the main renderer or whether it's going to go in the debug renderer. You could potentially split those out by camera, but I think that's a bit too complicated. We effectively have two render passes, right? Two render stages, the main one and then the post-render debug run, and I think we just basically choose which of the two it goes into. What's on the card today? I would rewind like 5 minutes and listen to it, but I want to draw some lines in a better way than the lines I already draw. No, we don't even need to. So I have a very hard and fast rule, like no macros. Apart from the one place where I need a macro, and obviously hash includes, no macros. So our renderer is a base class, and we just extend it to the debug renderer, and then in a release build, we would just have the base renderer, so we wouldn't have to worry about that. Yeah, I don't know whether it's going to be like, maybe debug layer. Maybe that's better, and then you push stuff to the debug layer. I think debug layer might be best. So let's start. The only way to begin is by beginning. So let's do core, or probably graphics. Debug layer.h. I think macros are probably okay if you're doing C, but I still think let me take a step back there. There's a whole host of problems with macros which don't go away if you're in C, but they doesn't necessarily provide you any better alternatives, whereas in C++, for most use cases of macros now, we have better primitives. I'm going to have to make this thread safe as well, because I think that's just one thing I just don't want to worry about. And I'm kind of happy to pay the performance penalty on that. So I think what we'll do is we'll just start off with lines, okay, and then we'll see if we can get that working, and then we can always go back and add other bits and pieces, because it'd be nice if we could render cubes, filled cubes, and wireframe cubes. It'd be nice if we can move all the shapes, like the frustum that we have for the camera. That should just be in here. It should be like, hey, just render this frustum. Yeah, I guess embed isn't a macro, right? It's a preprocessor directive. And I was incorrect there saying includes with macros, but they're not. I have basically, there are no macros in this apart from one case, and I will use other preprocessor macros where they make sense. So that's hash embed and hash include and hash pragma once. And then the only macro I do use is the X macro for OpenGL, because there is no better native C++ way that I know of that allows me to not have the code to remove the code duplication. Okay, so we're going to have, I don't know, some sort of public, some sort of private. Good one. Hello. Okay, so in the debug layer, we're going to want to, I like the idea of like push, because I think that is kind of, I think that conveys that we are, you know, adding something into it, and then it gets reset. At the moment, let's go to the debug. Let's have a look at how this is actually done in the debug renderer, I guess. Don't we have a draw? We do have a draw line, right? So draw line takes the start and end color, and then it pushes back that's it, because we already have a line data. So line data literally is something we'll upload to the GPU, which specifies a position and a color, but you kind of need two of those, right? Because otherwise that's a point. So who gets on top? It will be whoever, if it's, I guess in terms of like the painting algorithm, it'll be whoever was pushed last, right? And I don't actually care, just don't do that, I guess. So the top level views, I think this should be our interface, right? So I think we should have something like auto push line. And then you, as a caller, don't care? Do you know what I mean? You don't care that it has to have a line data. You just use the primitives that we've already provided everyone, which is the... I too need some new fingers. Vector and then hash include... I really feel like color should be moved to maths. Anyway, so we can push a line. Bish bash bosh. Yes, and we'll need some sort of enumerator as well. That's a good point. So let's do enum class debug layer type. Debug layer type. Yeah, sure. And then we could do main. And we could do, so we could do like, hello. Yes, I think GC does require modules. I could be wrong. Right, debug layer type, and then this could be game and debug. I'm not sure those are particularly intuitive. You know? If you were looking at it for the first time, you're like, yeah, default might be better, default and debug. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay, fine. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, just to make our lives a little bit easier, we're going to have a debug layer type equals debug layer type debug. I think most of the time you're only going to want it in debug, so you can just throw stuff at it, and then it's I'd be prepared to change the default, but in my mind the default's going to be in the debug layer, right? I think we already have a concurrent queue. So we could use this because it automatically handles a lock type, it automatically handles a queue type, it already knows its size. This is probably the best thing to use. It automatically use our own locking primitive. It does mean that enumerating is a little bit annoying, because you'd have to pop each one off. But I guess it's not too bad. Oh, it already has yield, which is, yeah, so I think this is definitely what we want. I think we're going to do concurrency, concurrent queue, and then we're going to have the concurrent queue line data, and that'll be the default line data queue. That's a bit of a mouthful. Hash include graphics line data, and then we'll have the debug line data, and then we'll have auto yield line data. Nope. that's not C++. Auto yield line data, and we might as well reuse the enum, right? To do that debug layer type void. Could make this context, bro. The default isn't default. That is a really keen observation. You are right. I don't like it either, but I am not going to change it because it's still semantically what I want. Actually, no, concurrent queue I don't think can be context because of the concurrent queue stuff, so that's fine. So I think that's basically a good starting point, right? So let's see if we can source graphics debug layer CP, rid of that. Graphics debug layer, blah, 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 blah. Keep those in. I can go away. Okay. I think if we can get this working today, then this will give us like our first kind of positive indication of gameplay. Do you know what I mean? It'll actually be able to shoot something and see it. Like, it won't be great, but then nothing ever is. But I think it will. For fuck's sake! Come on, DT close bracket. Thank you. Why don't you just have one thing for rendering lines, and then it can deal with both actual game lines and debug lines? I'm not trying to understand. Oh no, I think I see your point. We do want just one, don't we? Because it's just yes. Is that no? Do I want that? No, I don't. Sorry, I thought I did, but I don't. I do want to split them out, right? Because some things, if the way the renderer works, right, is the main renderer will get called first, and then the debug renderer, it's kind of post-processing stuff gets called afterwards. So anything in here will always get rendered, okay, regardless of what your view is. This will only get rendered if you're in the debug view, right? And I think that's what I want. I want to say this stuff is important and I always want to see it, okay? This stuff is kind of only useful for like the level editor or debugging. So yeah, I do think this is what I want. Because then the main renderer will always call it for this, and then the debug renderer, if it's even enabled, will then call it for this. I guess the only issue is something just to be cognizant of is if we don't have a debug renderer, we could just slowly accumulate debug line data, and that vector could just grow and grow. But problem for another day, mate. Problem for another day. I do think I want this. Why is it a file called debugger? I don't know what else to call it. Like, this is all the debug information, right? This is going to be debug lines, debug shapes. Do you know what I mean? Like, names are hard, but I understand what you mean by layer implies like a single thing that is laid on top of something else. Whereas I guess this is just bits of debug information that I will pull out at specific bits. We could clear it, yeah. Is this in effect a raycast? The raycasting stuff's already happened. By the way, I think I said last stream we're going to move all the raycasting over to Jolt. I have thought about that quite a lot, and I think no, because we already have my terrible raycasting code already, and that's enough to kind of get us going. It's only when we want to optimize it should we move over to Jolt. So I'd rather get it working first, get the systems in place, try it out, and then Jolt I see is just an improvement pass. Yeah, I think we'll keep going with this, and I reserve the right to change my mind. So let's do using enum debug layer type, and then we can do case default and that would be default dot push. I need to construct the hang on, how do I draw this? It's push back, start color, end color, isn't it? So push. We could also have an overload later which allows us to have two separate colors. So you can have a gradient, but I think for now, that's not a solid color. No, that's not how code works, is it? And then something like that. It'll all make sense when it works, which will be next stream. Okay, cool, right. And then I basically do this again. Return dot yield, I think I called it. Oh, that's going to need to change, isn't it? It's like going to have to be auto. What does it get you? Yeah. I'm getting there. Oh, such a pain that. I think it's going to have to be auto because I suppose it's not, is it? Because it's going to be a stood Q U E U E of line guitar. I think that's right. Just leaks a little bit of information. It's a little bit leaky. Okay, cool. Yes, this is a standing desk. I find it makes me more engaging. I don't know if that's just a lie I tell myself. I have the Secret Lab Magnum. No, it's an ice cream. Magnus. It's pretty. Less shrimpy for sure. Yeah, it's pretty standy. Like, I don't really know what more to say. It certainly goes up and down. I do actually. No, I lie. The one reason I recommend this desk over all the others I looked at is that, and I don't know if this is any other stand desks have this, is the entire surface is one big mouse mat. You get a leather roll that you kind of roll out over the top and it magnets onto either side. So the whole surface is just one big mouse mat and it's really nice. And they have a monitor arm that supports the ridiculous size monitor I have as well, which is also a bonus. So yeah, I am a big fan of the trailing return type. Yes, I do like it. I think it just semantically reads better of the information I care about. Like if I'm looking at a function, I normally tend to care first what it's called, what it takes, and then what it returns. Okay, so let's do eSource graphics make, and we'll add our ABC debug layer. Okay, let's just check that blends. Right. Oh, I know exactly where that is. Yeah. I don't know if I can contract assert here. Probably not. I think let's have. Oh. I mean, it's a pretty big error if you get this far. I would actually argue it is a contract assert, but I don't think I can just do that, and it'll be like that's ending the function. Yeah, interesting. I guess throw. unknown type, and then if I include the formatter, that will automatically, using reflection, pull out the enum name that I did pass in, or the value, I think, if it doesn't have one. Okay, that blends. Right, let's wire this in. So we're going to go up to our service locator, which is just globals with extra steps. Unique. I don't even know if these need to. Do these even need to be unique pointers? Didn't we went back and forth around on this a lot. I can't remember what I ended up with, why I ended up this. Was it to just do with the initialization order? I think because some of these are non... I think it's so I can... I think it's so I can, if I want to, add another method to service called like release, which I can then do. There's a purple pop up on my thing. What happened? 30 consecutive stream streak. Exciting. Thank you very much. I think it's so I can avoid the initialization and deinitialization fiasco of statics by I could basically just release services in one call right at the end of main, and then it would remove those. But I guess you'd have the same thing without unique pointer. Don't know. I'll have to think about it. I could be wrong. That might be just like absolutely just dog shit on my part. Okay. Over to main. Hash include graphics, debug layer, and then where we do like services. Because I just store the camera handle in there by value, right? So like, I definitely can have value things. I think it was because I was transferring. I was pre-initializing these and moving them in. But if these have well-formed move constructors, that would be fine. I think it's because I just cheat and I make some of these like non-movable and non-copyable, so I don't have to stress about it. I don't know. I'm second guessing myself now. Right. Anyway, we're half an hour in. I've done sweet bugger all. Let's wire this into. I think the best place to test this would be the physics debug layer. Because this is a class that we have to instantiate from, we have to create from Jolt for the debug layer, and it literally just vomits a load of lines at us. So we accumulate these and then yield them out later. So I think like we could probably say like, hey, no, just do that, okay. And then if we go to the actual implementation, draw a line, get rid of all this gubbins. Then draw a line literally just becomes hash include core service locator, hash include graphics debug layer, right? And then we can just do, because we get a from and a to and a color, right? Literally, we're there, we're doing it, we're crushing it. If we do service debug layer, right, get a reference to that, then do dot draw a line, and then do to native from to native 2, and then to native color. How do we think about that? Okay. Apparently debug layer doesn't have a draw line. Push line. course. Because I want it to be more like I want the mentality to be like an immediate mode, like, and if you don't push it every frame, you just don't get it. It's not like you are registering that line to always be drawn. Okay, so now we can go back to the debug renderer. Steady, stay on target. Debug renderer, and now we should be able to break this dependency with the physics manager, right? Oh, gee, where the fuck am I? 252, right? Nope. 452, not even close. Not even close. Not even right. So at the moment, the debug renderer accumulates lines that it needs to render internally anyway. So we can probably simplify that a lot. But for now, what we can basically do is, it's really annoying because a queue is not a range. So we're going to have to use a boomer loop. I don't think I've got any choice, which is just really annoying. I'd rather be able to lift and shift them all. Do I bodge vector into concurrent queue? To avoid this. It is only debug code. It's not the end of the world. Okay, fine. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. Do I have like all the services somewhere? So let's do for const auto line. No, it's not even gonna. Oh my goodness, that is right. Okay, fine. We're gonna do const auto debug layer line. Can't be const because I need to consume them. Ugh, I hate everything. DL dot yield lines. And what we'll do is we'll do debug layer type debug, right? Get all the lines for this layer, right? And then we'll do while not stood range. No, that's not a bloody range. Actually, I think that still work. Be interesting to know if that works. I think the CPO will just pick up whether it's got an empty member or not. I don't think it's actually checking if it's a range. And then we can do debug lines dot pushback debug layer lines dot top, and then debug layer lines dot pop. Because remember, pop doesn't return the value. Okay, so that should just move that out of the way, don't worry about that. Okay, so I think that should work. Okay, and then by the way, there's not many reasons to use the ranges one over the other. I just like it, so I don't stress about it. Okay, let's see if this continues to work as we expected it. I think I prefer yield lines. I feel like these could be default. This could just be default lines, right? Data queue. I could do. And this could be yield lines, right? Okay. Okay, let's see. I know, but conceptually to me it is lines. Thank you for the kind words. What? Class Q has no member. Is it? How does one? What? No. It's got a stupid name. Pop removes the first element. What are you going on about? Oh, because it's not top. That should be front. It's a queue. I'm thinking of the stack. Yeah, we got there in the end. Yeah, the code is already on GitHub. It's there. I've done it, mate. It's there. Don't stress. Okay, so in theory, we should... No. No, I think he was asking for the code for the last video. If you go back to the video, it should be in the description. But the code for this is also on GitHub. Okay, right, so... Okay, nice. So we've still got all these lines here, these many lines, all coming from the debug layer. So, in theory, let's do this. Let's go back to the debug renderer, and let's do... Let's change that to default. Right, so this now, in theory, should not render them. And if we go and add the render code into the renderer, which it doesn't currently exist, then we should get them. Sure, true, yeah. But I tend to come up with, like, in the moment, project names that interest me and they're not necessarily related to the project for the videos. Most of them are based on precious metals, but this one was just called Omnip. Nice, okay. So now let's see if we can wire this in. Ah, yes. All right, I'm feeling positive about this change. Not something I can say very often. Right, so let's go back to the debug renderer. So how are these lines actually rendered? I think we have a debug line program, right? The only thing I'm not sure about is the depth buffer. Do we need to bind a depth buffer somewhere? No, because the lines, if the lines are behind other geometry, then that geometry is always rendered on top, regardless of the draw order, right? But I am rendering them, this is after the whole frame has been composited, right? So this means that somewhere the depth buffer from the gbuffer pass is being adhered to. Do I just wang that? Do I just reset the depth buffer in one of the previous passes? Does that make sense? Because at this point, all I have at the moment is two triangles, right, with the entire final scene composited on top of it, because this is after all the post-processing stuff. And then I draw on top of that the lines, but the lines know the depth. But I can't see where I'm setting the depth buffer. But the last pass was the compositing layer, and the depth buffer will be whatever it is for a full screen quad, right? The depth buffer that I actually care about is filled in the gbuffer pass. I suppose I could just go and look at the render and see how it does it. Where's the actual render function? It's a bit of a mess now, but here, and also technically here for the gun, is what fills the depth buffer. But when you get down to here, right, the chromatic aberration pass clears its own depth buffer, right? So it's the final render part. Assuming you're doing post-processing, right? The final render here, because we set, this should be moved down because it's a bit of a mess now. This here sets the final render target. So the final render target, which is what gets blitted to the screen here. I feel like I've got to be copying somewhere. Someone's got to be doing a blit for the depth buffer. Surely. Oh, here we go. What's this? Ah, here you go. The first thing I do is I blit the depth buffer. Oh, because I just render straight to the screen. I don't render to a buffer. Yes. That makes sense. Okay, fine. So at this point, we're not rendering to any render targets anymore. Yes. Yes. So what I've done here is I've taken the depth buffer from the light pass, which I guess still has all the depth information in it, and I've shoved that into the frame buffer, and then anything I'm rendering to the frame buffer now has the depth from the previous rendering. I hope that'll make sense. Hang on 1 second. Okay. What was the point of all that excursion? So what I want to be able to do, right, so if I'm going to recreate this, unfortunately I will have to duplicate the code, but I don't think that's the end of the world. I think I basically still need this, right? I probably just want to always do this in the main renderer, and then after that, basically just copy something like this and just render those in. The only point is I do have it's just GL draw arrays as well. So what's the debug line buffer? What's in a debug line buffer? So that okay, so that's how I pass them there. Do I need to advance it, or do I think GL draw arrays is going to be done? Harand, help me. Do I need a triple buffer if I'm using a old school GL draw arrays, or can I call that and then immediately fill the buffer with some new data and then draw it again? Because we have triple buffering for the indirect calls, which this was a big argument. This is what I wanted to ask you last time, and I couldn't remember why we have the triple buffering anyway. I think it's something to do with filling out the command buffers and then firing off the multi-draw indirect calls. But if I'm just calling GL draw arrays, that effectively calls there's like a synchronization point after that, right? I can just refill that buffer. I could just comment out this line and see what happens. Where do I fill that line? Yes, with all the line data, which we've actually vertex pulling from, I think. Debug line vert. Oh, it has got. Oh, interesting. Where's it got that? Why has it got vertex data? Am I packing it in as vertices? I might be. I'm just doing it in line mode, aren't I? That's why. I'm just doing it as GL lines. It is persistently mapped at the moment, but I could just as easily swap it to one of our other buffer types, which uses buffer subdata. Because I advanced it here, but I don't know if I need that for this. So debug line buffer is a multi-buffer. It's a multi-buffer on a persistent buffer, and the persistent buffer is the coherent bit. Blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. But I'm wondering if I even need that. I wonder if that could just be a buffer, just a regular old OpenGL buffer, and then drop the advance. Just because if I want to copy that code somewhere else, right? Obviously, eventually it should be a helper function. But for now, if I just want to copy that, I should be able to just reuse that buffer, right? Because I think there's provisions in there for growing it if it's too small. I need to check where it's actually written to. Can I do it? Right, so I think... So I've got lines there. And let me see if I can... I get lines drawing here, and if I select this, okay, fine. I don't think I need a persistent buffer for that. It's only debug information. I think I was just overcomplicating it. But if it's just a non-persistent buffer, just a regular old buffer, I can immediately write to it after I've called GL draw arrays. I think I can, can't I? And that's just old school. That's OpenGL like 3. Yes, okay, fine, cool. I'll answer my own question, but thank you for... So, where do we write to the debug line buffer anyway? Here we do. Okay, fine. So yeah, exactly here, right? If we have debug line data to draw, bind the program, potentially resize the GPU buffer, because it could have resized, which is fine, because we could be drawing more lines than before, and we have a exponential growth strategy in that. Then write all of our data to it, squirt that straight into the GPU hole, then set up some other buffer gubbins, camera data, and the debug line buffer itself, then GL draw arrays with it, then we clear it, and then we unbind it. Okay, fine. So I think what I want... Okay, fine. Let's do this. What I plan to do is what I would normally do is just try and refactor the whole world in one go, and I'm actually going to try and not do that this time, because eventually I know I'm going to want to render other shapes, and a lot of this rendering code is going to change. What I'm going to do is just have it duplicated in 2 places, and then as patterns emerge, start figuring out then when to abstract it. But what I will do is I could actually just remove this bit, right, and then just slap that right in the render hole. Post render, blit it to the frame buffer. Oh, can we? I can't do it in 2. That's a shame. So we're going to blit the final. This is what we do: is we take the final compositive frame buffer and we stick it to the back buffer, right? Because it'll get swapped out, and then we'll also copy in the depth buffer then for any post-processing effects. Okay. So, Harand, remind me then, why did I need triple buffering for multi-draw indirect? Is that because is that because of the OpenGL call I was using, or was it because of the nature of the buffer? Do you just have to be careful with persistent buffers, even if you've got a synchronized draw call? And should technically have I used defense there, and I've just been getting lucky? Lots of questions. I have none of the answers. Okay, so we call post render, which is nice because the way it works with the got you right. I knew I did it for a reason. I knew I didn't spend ages writing all that miserable template code without needing to. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just yoink this draw code out Gunplay4.6.8. So let's do Gunplay4.6.8 renderer, and then here. So this is now after everything's been blitted to the screen. We'll do auto. Nope. Do con. Nope. No. We're gonna do auto service debug layer. No, that's not code. Auto DL equals. What am I missing? Hash include graphics debug layer. Okay, so we'll get that, and I just need to maintain my own. Oh, I don't have the debug lines program. That's right. We'll move that up into the top level class. That's fine. And the buffer is yes, the buffer as well. Yes. Okay. We could move the lines object as well. Yeah, let's go debug renderer. Where's the debug lines stuff? Let's yoink those out. Go into a renderer. Stick those. What's a few more? Like, what's a few more class members? Sure. Debug renderer. Yeah, I think we should be fine. Debug lines. D264, take those with us. Go back over to the renderer. Go up to the renderer. That's one hell of a constructor list. Stick those there. Nope, not there. Stick those there. Get confused as why nothing works. Debug lines, debug buffer, debug program, debug lines, debug buffer, debug. Oh, hang on. I've overzealously yanked some code there. Oh man, if this works. Set that back. Hold on. I could. No. Ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's do that there. Okay. In the graphics hole, we'll do line data. Okay. Go to renderer. That's all fine. Doesn't like that. That's fine. Okay, fine. So we're going to stick that, clear the lines. We've yielded out that. I don't actually need. This could be local, but it makes it fine elsewhere. I think that's fine. I think the only thing I need to do is change this to default. Let's see if this blends. In theory, we should see the stars align. We should see the jolt debug layer. Nope, we're going to crash. Not crash, we're going to fail to build. Will be initialized after. Ooh. Cursor and cursor. How have I managed that? Alright. So it's saying 54, that's 51. I know, right? What happened to the weekend? Right, so in theory, we should see the jolt debug layer only when we are playing, and then we go into the debug camera, it should disappear, which is the opposite of what we eventually want, but exactly what we want now, given the construction that we've got. I'll probably not do all the other stuff like cubes and stuff now. I'll either do that off stream or do that at the end of another stream, because what I want to get onto is clicking and seeing lines. So if we've got time at the end, I'll go back and add it. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. I reckon that's a... I think because we use quaternions now, there's no gimbal lock, so I can literally just keep going and have the world upside down. Exactly, yeah. If we go here, we should... Oh, okay. No, that's exactly what I want. I do want that because I want the debug layer to always see all debug information, but some of it I also want to see when the game is running. So that is correct, because it'll render that first, then it'll render any extra stuff. Yes, nailed it. So now if we go back to the Jolt debug physics layer, if we change this back to the default. Sorry, it's quite a lot to keep my head for all this, and I do apologize if I sometimes lose my train of thought. I also have like no notes or anything on this, so it's whatever I can remember on the stream as we're doing it. Okay, cool. Right, and then that's gone. Pew, 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 pew. I'm quite pleased with my little glowing light, I must admit. Pew, 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 pew. Pew, 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 pew. Right, we're going to need to do some pew, 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 pew. Let's get this committed. Debug layer class. Add debug layer to service locator. Basically, all this is. What have I changed in main? This is basically first pass refactor line rendering. Okay, cool. So now what I should be able to do is go to the player actor. And now we have a input map class. Does this handle clicks? I don't think it does. I do think it handles some weird templating that I got kind of carried away with. And some reflection. Oh man. Oh yeah, working out the minimum maximum value of an enum. So I could compile time, so I could pass it into the size of a bit set, obviously. So this gives you the delta X and delta Y, and allows you to query for the keys pressed. So I probably... Could you add it into the key map? I don't think you can add it into the key map, because what you'd have to work out a value outside of the enumeration range. And then what key would you give it? What I think you can do though, I think we can probably just do mouse button event, mouse event, and just stuff it in there. No, because it's going to have to be optional, isn't it? Like that, and then we go to main, and then we do input map. Do I like this? I feel like the point of input map is, you know, given the current frame, you know what the accumulated inputs are, right? So you know all the keys that are currently pressed, you know the delta X and delta Y of the mouse move. So I think in that frame, you need to know whether the mouse has been pressed. We can do this, right? This is fine. But it's when do you reset it? I don't want to rely on a caller resetting it. I think I have to reset it at the beginning. I think I have to do... Oh yeah, exactly here. Exactly here. This probably wants a reset function. Or we could do another enum with mouse buttons and bitmap. I think that might be the correct answer at the end, but seeing as I think I only support left mouse at the button at the moment anyway, I think this might be fine. But yes, that is... Because yes, what happens if they're both pressed? What does mouse event button do? Mouse button event. Mouse button state. Up, down. I literally... Yeah, well, at the moment I just assume a mouse only has one button. So, you know, we've got bigger problems before we can handle right click. Like, we're going to have to fundamentally enrich our input handling code. So for now, I think I can probably get away with this. Okay, so let's go back to character. So let's try this. Let's do DL debug layer. Why is that should be adding to the headers? I think Clang D is having a mad one. Is on a mad one here. And then after all this, we're going to do if input mat. Let's do const auto. Let's do const auto mouse button equals input mat dot mouse event. If I did get one, then we can do dl dot. That's true, yeah. dl dot push line. Do I have access to the? I do. We can do camera dot. I just have that camera dot permission, and then I can do camera dot direction times 100.0f, and then colors. What color should we have? We could add a new one. Give me a nice color for shooting lines that is unique, that stands out against these. Red, fine. And then for this, I want to always see this, which is literally the whole point of this endeavor in the first place. This just works. It's just we're getting to the point now where, like, when things start, this is obviously not going to work, right? But when things do start working, it's kind of nice knowing that all the bits that we've been building start working together. Okay, lots to go. Lots gone wrong here. Camera has... Is it camera transform? Dot position. When it works. Oh, of course. Yes, right. That's what I meant to do. I was thinking about this. I want to have the vector is it line data? It's not, is it? Because line data is just one. This is just going to be hacked in for a minute. All right. Then we're going to do pp lines dot pushback to make tuple camera dot transform dot position camera. Oh, it's because it's an optional, isn't it? Camera transform dot position camera direction times 100.0 f colors red. And then we're going to do for const auto start end color in pp lines push line start end color start end color debug layer type default. Aren't you just adding a new version of raycasting? Isn't this advisable? Yes, I mean we can generalize. The way I think of it is that eventually the player actor will ask something else to do the ray tracing, the ray casting for it. At the moment, scene can do it, so eventually we'll have to pass scene into player actor, and then player actor, hey, trace this for me, and that would eventually become Jolt. So it's not going to do any of the logic, but it will ask something to do it and then handle the result. Direction is a function. Yes. It didn't like input map for some reason, did it? I don't know why it doesn't like that, because that input, oh sorry, because that should be dot mouse vent. And then I think what a nice way to tie this will be we could have one color line if we shoot and miss something, and a different color line if we hit. If we hit, we can then draw another short line on the normal of the thing that we hit, just to kind of test it out. Okay, well, so far, oh no, okay. Is it just because I can't? I won't be able to see it because I'll be looking straight down it. Oh yeah, if I strafe. Certainly feels like shooting. Let's go into a bigger room. These go on for quite some time. Nailed it. Absolutely crushed it. I don't know, it does feel like I'm not convinced that's right. If I do them going down and step to the side, I suppose that is right. Yeah, there you go. I guess the camera head is literally, it's because it's right where I am. And yeah, is that right? That weird kind of, as I'm effectively clipping into the lines. Yeah, I know. So if I go up and down and step back, I'm not convinced that's right. I think let's do this. Let's go player actor, and let's pass in. Let's take access. Let's get access to the scene, because the scene is what can do the casting for us. It does seem off, doesn't it? I don't know why. I think it'd be useful to have something like a hit marker. Yeah, okay. Plenty to be going on with. So let's do const scene. And then we're going to do const scene. I really might have to kill this. Right, okay, let's go here. Let's go bring this in here, hash include core scene. And then we're going to go const scene. And then here we're going to go scene. So now I should be able to do the mouse event. If we have a mouse event, we'll put the shooty line in, and then we're going to do. So let's do. I got hash include. Did I make array? I did make array class. Okay. So let's construct the bullet ray. So const auto bullet ray equals ray dot origin equals camera transform dot position, and then dot direction will equal camera direction times 100.0f. So got a comma there, make it pretty. Okay, so we're going to do make tuple. I probably could store the ray and the color, but anyway, let's just do ct. Oh, Christ. Let's do bullet ray. We're going to draw a line from the bullet ray dot origin to the using the. Oh, hang on. I need to do origin plus direction. So direction is just a 3D vector, right? It's just a normalized vector in space. I need to, the end point is the origin plus the direction times a length. That's probably why it looked funny. So bullet ray dot origin plus bullet ray dot direction times 100.0f, right? I might just see if let's see if that makes a difference. Player actor control. I think I just need to pass in scene. No, I think you want the gun to start from the camera, right? I don't think you want the gun. I don't think. Oh, you want the. I think you want in the game the shoot ray to start from where the player is viewing, not from the gun, right? Because I think with other birds it'd be confusing. I think for particle effects you do, but for visualizing what we're actually going to be doing hit scanning on, I think you want it to come from the camera. Designated can be used as a non-aggregate. Ray is not an aggregate class. I cannot remember the last time I looked at the ray class. Pretty sure it is. Is it not aggregate because I got a constructor? Oh, because I forced it to be normalized. Yes. Fine. There is an invariant there that I wish to maintain, so that's fine. I can live with that. I remember doing that. that right? Oh, it's so hard to... It does seem off, that. I think it's better. But it definitely does seem off. Like, I'm pretty sure... I do need a crosshair, but like if I'm looking like pretty much like dead center here, could we draw a box? We could add a child element which is exactly shifted along that. That could work. But I don't understand like why is it just because I'm exactly along the line here that I can't see them? But that seems maybe hang on, let's see if I can do this. See if we, this would be an interesting test of the tooling we've got. So let me, oh, Jesus, there's the gun. Right, so let me collect the player. Let me add a child entity, and from that I want to add, I don't know if the cube is in here. I have a sprite. Can I add a sprite? Whoa. Is that big enough? What's that called? Player child 0. Can I select that? And can I... Why can I not scale this down? Like, where's the... Why have I not got a scale option? Oh, because I need to select the actual render entity? It's crashed. Oh. I want to try that again. I think that's right. I think we should be able to add a little black sprite there and use that. So let's select the player. Let's add a new child. To that child, we will add the sprite. We will then... Oh, no. Can I move that back to exactly where it was? I think that's fine. Move that exactly along where we're going to look. It crashes every time. Why does it crash when I select that render entity? Because I can't scale it. Hang on. I got a plan. Okay. Select the player. Add a child. Attach to it the sprite. Move that sprite away. Check that that does indeed always... So obviously won't always be on top, but it's fine. Go back to the debug. Save. Quit out. Go directly to the YAML. Find the new child entity. I think was it player child 0? Right, yeah. Manually change the scale here to be 0.1. Run it again. So yeah, I'm very much aware of what it should be, but I don't have any of the infrastructure set up for that at the moment. A sprite floating in the air is good enough for just to see if we're shooting in the right place. Right, okay, crosshair, now absolutely nailed it. So if I shoot like pretty much directly at that red light, it shouldn't, the Z shouldn't balk it, right? Because it should always be along the camera view direction. So if I line that up, I might need to make this a bit smaller there. Oh, I don't know. See, that's pretty... Once if I shoot like that corner and then that corner, I think that's pretty accurate. I think C++ is in the best state it's ever been, so I really don't understand your point, but I'm interested to know your specific experience with the language. Let's make that a 10th of the size. Also, that's a YAML file, mate. Yeah, I think it's the fact that the lines aren't visible. Okay, right, so I got a little... That little crosshair is so stupid. I absolutely love it. I'm leaving that in there for as long as possible. So if I, like, let's take a shoot at, like, these rivets, right? So if I shoot there, 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 and there. I don't know, that's pretty close. Yeah, I think it would be nice to see it as soon as you shoot, but I think it's fine. Like, that looks pretty good. I think we'd be shooting. I really like my little crosshair. I'm so that might be my proudest achievement. That it's the fact that it clips through the wall. I could move it really close to my face and make it even smaller. But that's so funny, because if we go to the debug camera. Alright, I'll just see this. Oh, the lines have gone. Oh, it's in the I changed it so every entity gets a yellow square. So inside this yellow square is the thing. I don't know if I can get inside it. Too bright. Why is that not now? TBC, because didn't it work when we changed? It definitely worked when we changed the physics one. So why is that now? I should see all those in here, and I want to see all those in here. Yeah, it all happens in the basic camera. We'll have to walk through the flow of it later. I'm not too fussed now. For now, I want to see if I can do the collision, the ray casting. Got it in the end. I could make this like a circular buffer, so you only keep like the last however many of them, but this is fun. Feels like a game now. Ship it. Infinite line rendering. I'm really curious to know why it's not rendering them in the debug camera. Yeah. Oh, it's gone. Right, okay, fine. Enough farting around. Let's get on with it. Let's do play actor. Oh, is the scroll bar fixed, by the way? Someone said there was a bug. No, because the whole kind of hierarchy is that it's basically where it if it renders it anywhere, everything that happens after it should still see it. I've seen the aftermath of the Star Citizen. I can empathise that streaming is hard, but I don't think that ended well. Okay, so let's do for each of the lines. We'll add it to that, and then we're going to do const. No, we're going to do even better. We're going to do if const auto intersection equals scene dot intersect bullet ray. I think this returns an optional. intersect ray. Obviously, I don't know why I would have named that, because I can only intersect with array. So that's my absolute terrible naming there. I try not to encode. I've made this mistake a couple of times in this code base, and I keep seeing it when I go through it, and it riles me up. I try not to encode type names in the variable name, because that's what the variable types are for. You know, intersect, you give it a thing. Like if you can intersect with array, you give it array. If you can intersect with some other type, then you would have an overload for it. That's the whole point of function overloading. Anyway, I digress. So if we have an intersection, what does that give us? What's an intersection result when it's at home? We get. Oh, do we not even get the normal? That's so annoying. I was really hoping we'd get the normal. Can I add the normal to it? Is this a thing that I can get? So I can calculate the intersection point as that. So I've got intersect here with the transformed ray. No idea what that does. So I get the 3 vertices. This must do the actual maths, which takes the 3 points. So how do I... Is this easy to do? Can I, given the 3 vertices I intersect, can I compute a normal for the whole vertex? Because for the whole triangle, how? What's the maths? Something cross product. Is it just the cross product of what? Which ones? Get triangle normal from vertices. To get triangle surface normal from its 3 vertices, subtract vertex A from B and C to find 2 edge vectors, then calculate their cross products and normalize the results. Okay, fine, I can do that. Let's do vector 3 normal. And then we'll do, so at this point, we have got an intersection and it's closer than the previous ones. Well, the AI overview from Google, why is it using Google, not Kaggy? Anyway, the AI overview from Google, which is summarizing a post from Reddit r OpenGL, says that cross product. Well, what's a vector product then? I don't understand that, because it can't be a dot product, because that would just give you a float. How do I... Given the 3 points of a triangle, how do I find the 3 vertices of a triangle, each with their own normal? How do I find the normal of the triangle? It must be cross, right? So let's do it in line, I guess. So, wait a minute, I've already forgotten. What order did I... Position and then normal. Oh, God damn it. Dot normal equals yeah, vector product is cross product. I thought so. Because it produces a vector, whereas the dot product produces a float. So we want to do vector 3. I think, again, one of the major problems I think with all this kind of thing is that there is not a consistent set of naming conventions. So it can easily we could all be arguing the same thing. Vector 3 cross, and then I'm going to do v2 minus v0, and then v1 minus v0, and just keep adding brackets that's happy. Do we think that's right? Does it have it? I can't tell. It probably because I picked the font, and I would pick my standard font, which has ligatures. So that's, if it does, that's incredible. You can use I think there's one for the spaceship operator as well. This is right or maybe opposite direction. We will know when I draw it, if it's sticking through the wall, and then I'll just negate it. Okay. Nice. Your mesh is in, yeah, it should just be the standard winding order. Are you suggesting we could actually work this out through the maths before I just try it and see if it works or not? That's where else is the URL going to go? Player actor. Okay, so if we intersect, then we're going to add another. I'm going to abuse this now and call it the pew pew lines, even though it's definitely not. So this is going to be intersection position, and then intersection position plus intersection normal. We'll do times 2, and this should be. Oh, let's go another color. We haven't got blue yet. Let's go blue. Okay. Let's see what happens with this. Oh, plot twist. Why is scene... That should be const. Naughty, naughty. I do like Cornflower Boo. It reminds me of XNA, which is probably my first real exposure to game programming. I will question not the pale goldenrod. I do have Azure, which is one of my favorite shades of blue. Okay. Sorry, it's that terrible crosshair gets me every time. Okay, well that didn't work. Let's try on a thin surface and see if it's coming through on the other side. So if I absolutely shoot the shit out of this. Okay, yeah, it's one, it's massive, and 2, it is the wrong way. Let's try it again. So let's do I'm just going to cheat, by the way. And this would probably be actually like 0.5. Yeah, or just negate it. Like It's fine. It's for debug code. I don't have to be too precious about it. Right, let's try this now. Great. Hello? It's actually got a physics object on it. I can't step through that once I shoot out of this wall. Nope, that's got a physics object on it. Great. If I just made it too small. Also, this should only be... Oh, hang on. Hang on. I need to do the intersection first and only draw it up to... No, because the normal should always be... If I shoot a flat face, right, at that angle, the normal should be that. I'll only see it if I shoot it straight on, but I'm pretty sure I was shooting stuff at an angle there. Or was I only ever shooting it straight on? Also, I need to make sure that the line... I only want to draw this if it actually hits something. So I think what we can do is... okay, a couple of things here. Let's do origin, right origin, plus bullet direction, times intersection distance. Okay, so it should only draw the line up to the point when we hit it, and I think we should use a different color to check when we've actually hit something. So now someone give me a new color, something red themed. I'm going to ask whoever wants a color to do the hard work for me and give me the RGB values as well. You can't just be saying words. I'm not looking it up. If you got to put the work in. Whoever can get me the 3 float values first and a name. Everyone furiously typing. I hope. Or everyone's like, fuck this guy. Nope, can't be hex. I need the floats. I'm not doing the maths in my head. Oh, okay. Oh, 0.9, 0.1, 0.1. What name is that? You do technically need a name as well. I'll give you one chance to give me a name. Calwo. It better be a good one. It better be a real one. To be fair to everyone else, I will have to concede in a minute and move on because there are other people there with names and numbers. I believe in you. Come on, give me a name. Oh, it's not looking good. If you just guess those numbers and you're now desperately trying to pick a name for it. Ooh, right, hot pink it is. I'll add yours. If you come back to it, I'll add yours as a courtesy, but we won't use it now. So I think the first person there with a name and with numbers, or technically Haran did already say the number before. Oh, you know what? I'll add them all, but I'll decide which one I want in the moment. I'll be benevolent. And then we've got... It's bright red. Yeah, this is true. We spent the rest of the stream just adding colours because I was too afraid to be rude to people. This isn't hard coding magic numbers. This is giving magic numbers names. Right, we can stop it now. I'm not taking any more suggestions. We can save it for another stream. Okay, so I'm going to go with hot pink. And then we'll do else. We'll just stick on the original one, which I've obviously now removed because I'm absolute fool. So this should be bullet rate direction times 100.0f if we miss it. Okay, and then that will be red. I think that's right. Oh, fuck it. Let's just see what happens. No, I've not done that, but that does sound interesting. Oh, no, to be honest, I've probably done it inadvertently because all my maths is terrible. There's just like, I think there's lots of other abstractions we can add. So someone was saying like you should have a color class spelled incorrectly, but I'll let you off, and use HSL. That's fine, but like it doesn't add any value to what I need now. Do you know what I mean? It's so much easier for me just to write some names and give it some float values, and then just kind of get on with it. There's only because I'm trying to do as much of the development as possible live. I really have to pick and choose what I add and what I spend time on. I can do some stuff off stream, but I just this is just so much easier. Right? Okay, so let's shoot this at like an angle and see if we get there. Okay, we definitely hit. But I'm not getting it. So let me just, so if I shoot out, okay, great. Oh, mate. Is it? It's not intersecting with the sprite, is it? Because that would be absolutely stupid. I'm really worried it's in. Really worried that it's intersecting with the sprite. Oh, hang on, what's this? What are you doing here? Where do you come from? Oh, hang on, that works. Okay, that works. Why does it only work on this gubbins here and everywhere else? Okay, that works. But it doesn't like that. Is it because the normal's fucked? Let me just need to fix why these lines aren't here as well, because that'd be really useful. So that normal there is absolutely balked, but these normals seem relatively sane, right? So what's this? This was a bit messed up here. So this seems fine. And even if you get it right on the, there's a physics box here. That's fine. But why is that? Also, why is it always pink? What have I intersected with? I reckon it's into. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, mouse should be on the to-do list. I've just not called the hide cursor Win32 function yet. Just not got around to it. There's some strange stuff going on here. I don't understand why I'm not getting like any normal information from this, but I get a load over there. Yeah, but like, they can't be wrong for everything, surely? Well, that seems wrong as well. Hang on, so they are. Yeah, look, why are they appearing there? to the left when all the shots are there. There's also the other thing to consider is that my scene picking code is shit, right? Like, I just threw it together. I'm concerned it's not picking up like either sub entities or it's... I suspect it's always pink because I'm hitting that sprite, and I suspect that if we could see them in the debug camera, we would see a load on that sprite. The collision boxes are separate to this, like the physics boxes. They don't have anything to do with the scene picking. I don't think we're intersecting with the player model because it's totally... again, the physics is totally separate to this specific casting code. Why are there blue lines on them? I mean, who knows? Also, why is it highlighting this box in green? Why have I got the... What? Why is... What? I shouldn't have any of those lines there. Also, it takes... Switching to the debug camera is really slow. I don't know if it's reinitializing a load of OpenGL in GUI gubbins. Ooh, that is slow. That is slow. Okay, lots of things to kind of figure out here. Let's take this step by step. What's the... I think so. Got a little bit of time left. So, you mentioned in ABB was your call, right? Who knows, mate? Okay, I think the first thing to do is work out why I can't see it in the debug camera, because I think that's kind of useful to have, right? So we push all these things here. Let's just follow this through. So we do renderer. So we blit it to the composited scene to the back buffer. We then blit the depth buffer over to the back buffer as well, so we can do further calculations with it. And then we get all of the debug lines for us, stick them in the global debug lines object, stick them in the buffer, render them, clear them. So this is now empty for the follow-on renderer call. So if we go to debug renderer, the way this works is it calls post render, right, which goes through alternative. So this starts putting other stuff in the debug lines. I must clear something somewhere. I just can't work out why. Like, it binds again and it goes through and it picks up its debug lines and it renders them again. But I can't understand, because this is just a standard buffer now. We would have cleared it. I don't think I can do that because I'm blitting from two separate buffers into one. Like, the color buffer's coming from one place and the depth buffer's coming from another. Are the lines that render draw not left when debug? Are the lines that the renderer draws not left? Oh, all this highlight goblins is wrong as well. That should be... This should be first. I don't think this is making a difference. But we shouldn't be doing any of this if we're not. So the first thing this post render does is actually call back into the main post render, which will draw out all the debug lines, right? There, and then if we're not enabled to return, that's fine, but we will be enabled because that's the only way we can get into this view. And then yeah, we start adding our own debug lines and stuff. I don't understand why that render call... I really don't understand why this render call is kind of lost. It is strange, but I'm really pleased with what we've done today anyway. I think that's actually, like, I know it's not perfect, there's a few little bugs in there. There's a few little bugs everywhere though. I'm gonna go just have another quick little look at this, but I'm curious, in a very rare case, I'm interested to know what people think we should do next, and I reserve the right to ignore every single one of you. Is it more, do we think it's better or more interesting to work on like gun recoil and movement, or sound? What makes us feel more like a game? Or shooting grey boxes, like start adding in like the gameplay enemies and stuff like that? Jumping was not one of the options, I'm afraid. Right, okay, so if I shift over to the debug renderer and I check out the logs, so we're not logging anything at the moment, so there are no default layer debug lines. But let me shoot like here, right? Great. I feel like it's stuck inside. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's go back to it's rendering eight lines. It's over and over again. I can see it here shooting 8. Why would that be? Where would 8 lines have come from? It should only be 2, right? And also, why can I not see them? What is this? Oh, that's me. That's me. Doobity shroobity. That's me. Crosshair. I don't understand why I cannot see them here. Especially as it's logging. It's logging that it's drawing them, right? Is it detecting per frame left button down? Am I interesting. Yes, I am shooting lines every time. Yes, okay. So we can fix that by doing, we just introduce some state here. Static auto handle click equals true if so. We basically want to do, hang on, if not handle click return. Right. And then, hang on a minute, that's not working for me. Let's see. So complicated. Basically, what I want to do is I want to say if handle click is true, then we should be doing all this. But no, wait a minute, that's wrong. That's if we have a click and if handle click, then do all this. Alright, and at the end of this we do handle click equals false, and the only thing that can set that back to true is if we don't have a mouse event. It's a little bit hacky, but let's just see what happens there. Yeah, and there's loads of ways of doing it. I just, for the sort of tail end of the stream, I just want to hack something in there just to see this working, because I still don't know why I cannot see it in the other layer. I do not know. I cannot see what the difference is between, it's just one continuous set of function calls, right? Like, it's just, like, I don't understand why, like, it's still rendering 8 lines. If I really like hold it down, like, what's this doing up here? Oh, hang on a minute, because it's doing one for each mouse event, isn't it? If handle click and mouse event state equals mouse button state down, just ignore the uppercase. Yeah, I think we are using Windows key state. So whatever is in the Windows message WinProc, whatever it is, handler. Right, okay, fine. So if I click there and then move the mouse up there, it should just stay there. Right, okay, fine. So now if I go here, I should just get four lines. 4 lines. Why am I getting 4 lines? So if we can handle the click, if we have a mouse event, if we can handle the click and the state is down, do all this, then set the click to false. And the only thing that sets it back to true is when we don't have a mouse event, because then that means on the next one we can set it. Oh, it is 4, isn't it? Because there's 2 bits of line data for each one, right? Because we basically just send vertices to the graphics card and we say draw lines between them. So yeah, the number of lines is actually half the number of things. So that does make sense. Okay. The final question is, why can I not see it? I don't understand why I cannot see it in. What have I cleared? What have I changed? What have I done? So clear in here. There's no clear. Do I bind something else? No, like. Doesn't clear lines and render post. Yes, but it doesn't matter if I cleared the line data. Right. I've still sent it to the, like, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, right, I've still submitted So unbind the final frame buffer, which rebinds the back buffer, right? I blit that data over from the final frame buffer as a color one, and then I blit over the depth buffer, and then I still issue GL draw arrays, right? With that, and that we're logging that and we're seeing that. I just want to... I just wanted to check that log is increasing, because sometimes when you get the same log line over and over again, it doesn't seem to show, because like I just want to prove that I am seeing that every single frame from the debug layer. All right, so let's shoot that, right? It has stopped calling it. Okay. It has stopped calling that. It called it a bit. Presumably those were being logged in the other one. So when we switched the debug renderer, that stopped happening. Why is that? Something somewhere is hang on. This calls into here, which does this. So why is... No, it doesn't. Most compilers will give you a warning if you have the right warning flags on. Give it out the default lines. Pop them from one by one into the debug lines object. If that wasn't empty, why is this? Hang on. I'm concerned that this... No, because by the time the frame comes back round, that should be refilled. Why is... Okay, hang on. Let's try this. Let's try moving this here, because I want to see... what... So this must be 0. Why is this 0? Let's add some more stuff in here. No, it's not worth me, is it? I just want to see this printing over. I just want to just check it's actually calling this code. If it's not, that's outrageous. Yeah, yielding does clear the concurrent queue, but player actor is putting it back in every frame, right? And when we switch back to the main camera, they all come back. So all that information is still being pushed. It's still pushing those draw lines. Right, so that's saying 0 over and over again, and then we go and that's saying 0 over and over again. Why? So... Oh, hang on. No, surely not. Surely not. Nope. Okay, fine. I thought I was missing a break or something, but that seems fine. You definitely... Yeah, it takes the lock and it swaps it out with the empty one and then it returns it. You definitely get that. So why is that? That must be empty because the loop before pops it, sort of pops from one to the other. Why would that be? Oh. Yes, of course no push queue, because Byakua's current actor update is a pointer that will now be pointing to the flycam actor, so it will just not be updating the player. The player doesn't get the update called, so it's not be pushing those lines. Right, okay. There's not really a lot I can do about that without massively changing the architecture, but at least I know why. I'd like to see it. I don't think it's a hill I'm going to die on. The bigger question now is why are the lines all fucked up? So yeah, the current actor changes when you go in between debug mode, right? You switch between the flycam and the player, and that's the only one that gets updated. I do have this vision where I can still have the debug camera and have the other player updated, so it can still consume mouse movements, but separate update. I'm just not that fussed, to be honest. I want the game to kind of be suspended in the flycam mode anyway, which kind of necessitates the player not having any updates. So that's fine. Okay, I can live with that. It's not the end of the world. What I want to know is why? So I got those there. So that if I shoot like this, which is very obviously on an angle, where are those? Why did these come through here? I feel like I'm shooting something behind. Oh, hang on. Hang on. I'm just taking the vertices positions, right? I want to take their normals, right? Is that right? Am I mathsing wrong? I guess I just get lucky when the vertex is similar to the normal. I don't know what made me think of that. I'm not really showing on the stream how I set up the build system, but yeah, it's just a Docker file, right? It's a pretty miserable Docker file. Man, I am mathsing put the maths in all the wrong places today. I bet that negative's probably wrong now as well. I just got lucky. Are the verts transformed into world space? Oh my goodness, no, they're not. You're right. This is going to not work either. Hang on. Yeah. Where do I apply the... What's the transformed ray? So I transform the ray into into model space, which I guess is fine for checking intersections and depths. You don't actually care what the space is. I suspect this distance is absolutely buggered, but it's relative anyway. Cross-producting the edges of the vertices is the normal. Oh, I thought I just combined. Is it just because I'm fine? Was I right then? Is it just because it's in model space? So do I then need to do hang on. Do I then multiply that by matrix for entity transform? Do I do that? It's probably an optional, so there's just it is the start operator, but I don't think it's a pointer. Also, that's fine. Raw pointers are fine. Okay, fine. So I want this, but well, I don't want this. Can you do it for vector 4? Can't I? Hang on. Const auto normal equals minus vector 3. Let's take this out, right? And then we're going to do const auto transform equals I have to take the I have to stick it in the I have to convert it to a matrix for the maths to work. Is this the right way? Do I want to do this? And then I want to do const auto transformed normal equals transform times vector 4 normal, and then I should be able to do transform normal dot x, transform normal dot y, transform normal dot z. Am I mathing correctly? Or I take it out of model space back into world space. Oh, do I have to multiply by the inverse? No, because in the graphics card it's going to multiply by that one. Oh, fuck, what? Who said building their own maths classes was the right way to do it? Oh, I've got to supply W, fine. Does the maths make sense? Does it need to be 1 for the maths to make sense? Or can it just be 0? I always forget it with the heterogeneous, whatever is the homogeneous coordinates, whatever it is. Or do I just make it 0? It's 0. That is true. No, but doesn't it? When you're multiplying by width by column, width by column, width by column, the final component will get mixed in. Because you first row by first column, first row by second column, etc., etc. But I suppose there is only one column on a 4x4 vector. I still think it gets mixed in, but my brain can't really process the maths right now. I think it's right, but it's the distance that's wrong, isn't it? Because that how is that intersection point anywhere close to being correct? Do you know what I mean? How is, because isn't this distance now relative to model space? Because the normal? No, because I draw the normal to be the ray origin plus the direction times the distance. So the distance is wrong. The distance is too big. You are free to go watch something else, my friend. I'll also point out that regardless of how much maths you know, it is incredible. I find it is quite challenging to stand up here and talk through it. By the way, it's very different to working through it with pen and paper. If you do not enjoy it, no hard feelings. I think my issue is that the distance is wrong. Do I ever feel like I'm over engineering? Sometimes under engineering. It really depends on what we're doing. Like there's some stuff in this project that I've definitely put too much engineering effort into, and it's impossible to say whether it's worth it or not. But yeah, right. Hang on. So I take the. I like how I use 1 here and 0 here. I take the inverse transformation, which means I move the ray into model space, because the transform takes the model into world space. So I take a world space ray and move it into model space, do all the calculations there. All the depths are relative, so I do get the closest one. But when I want to get the world, how do I get a world space depth back or distance back? Because that distance would be, I'd actually expect it to be smaller, so I'm surprised it's overshooting it. But it's pretty close. At this point, I'm wondering if it's easier to just hand it over to Jolt now. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no point spending too much time on this when I know I'm going to throw it away. Like, I think we proved out the click. We can do the click handling. We've improved the debug line rendering. I think the issue now is basically we need better intersection, and better intersection comes from someone else's code in this case, because as we've seen, and someone very politely pointed out, my maths is not perfect on this, but I would assume Jolt's is better. I'm pretty pleased with that. I think that's a pretty solid result. That, like, it feels like shooting. Do you know what I mean? Like it feels like the gun is actually having an impact on the world, which is kind of really where I wanted to get to. So I'm actually quite pleased with today's result, and also my little oh, hello. My little like clipping through the geometry reticule is absolutely hilarious. Yeah, and we know that the ray is going the right place, so let's commit this up. I think we can probably call this a day. I am now going to ignore what everyone said, and I think next stream we have to just get on with getting Jolt intersection handling. Yeah, but I don't know how you just transform a distance. Do you know what I mean? Like, how do I take a scalar value and multiply it by a matrix? I guess I could stuff it in the XYZ component of a vector and scale it back. I'm going to try that once, and no more. Let's do const auto distance vec equals vector 4 our distance, right, not f, and then do const auto This, by the way, now I'm actually now generally guessing at the maths. Equals transform times distance vec, and then we can just do this as transform distance dot x. And then we'll call it, and then I'll go have a beer. Right. I think it's closer, but I don't think it's better. But it's definitely calculating the normals now, because we can see, maybe not that wall because that wall's fucked. I don't know where they are here, behind me. Obviously, of course they're there, but like those normals are like that, and then these ones come out the side, so they're fine. It's literally just the distance wrong, and I will just double check that my just check that this is correct. So when we pew and we get an intersection, I want to draw from the intersection position, which we also need to scale that back, and then from the intersection position to the intersection position plus the normal, yes. Scaled. One last thing, I promise. Auto transformed. I've already called it transformed into intersection equals transform times vector 4 intersection point. Ah, cool. Someone from AAA, thank you. Do tell me how I'm getting it massively wrong. I do, again, that's one of those things where, so my whole philosophy of this project is only to write the code that I need at the time I need it. I'm not building an engine, so I'm not trying to build, like, I'm not trying to solve the world. What you suggest is probably very useful and something I should probably think about building, but I just, when I'm trying to do as much stuff live, sometimes I've got to kind of just suck up the hard way, but I think it's really interesting. So transformed intersection dot x, transformed intersection dot y, transformed intersection dot z. Right, okay, last chance to dance. With the point W should be 1. I really don't know. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 0. In my code, I'm not saying that's consistently how the maths should work. Yeah, thanks very much. Like, it's good fun. I'm really enjoying doing this, and it's nice to have, you know, quite a few people who show up and keep me company while doing it. It definitely helps keep the motivation up. One being allows for translation. Okay. What if this doesn't work? It's close. It's definitely closer. I'll try 1. You're normally right. See, aren't we all learning together? Just one more instruction. I know it's like playing Civ. It's like just one more turn. Then I'll get Gandhi. If this does work though, then I'd be tempted to deprioritize the Jolt stuff. Oh, look at that. That's pretty spot on. Oh, it's pretty spot on. I'm just going to shoot things now with weird angles to see. Oh, that's absolutely spot on. That I'm really pleased with that. So if I shoot, does this light work? Can I shoot the light and get some? Yeah. What about this absolutely messed up wall? Well, that's not too bad. That's absolutely, yeah. It's Jolt in the bin. Absolutely suck it, Jolt. You go do one. Get in the sea. Oh, I'm actually really pleased with that. What a great way. And to the person who doesn't like my maths, wow, we got there in the end, didn't we? Oh, it's done that thing where the mouse button locks. There's a bug I need to fix that I've not got around to yet. I'm hands off now. We're playing on Rails. So quit that. All right, I'm really pleased with that. Oh, what an end on a high. Stuff mouse click into input map. Add the best reticle. Okay, most of this is add more colors. I think most of this is just fanning around drawing normals. Draw hit normals. Right. Stream 56. No, they don't appear in the debug view, and I'm really upset that you would even mention that. What a way to bring me down right at the end. No, it's fine. Oh, what is... Thank you everyone for your help. Mr. Steak, we got there in the end. Harand, Quacko, in fact everyone who suggested it. I've just forgotten everyone else's name, so no offense. I'm worried that Ray disappears when I look through a different camera. Yeah, okay, fine. That's good stream, guys. Top job. Right, next stream, which will most likely be Wednesday. I'm away next weekend, so there'll be no stream this time next week, but I'll I'll endeavour to stream Wednesday. I'm going to take a view on it. I'm undecided yet. I might merge this branch as it is, because it's called Gunplay, and because we kind of got the gun foundations done. Like, it renders a gun on top of everything else. It looks kind of shit, but fine. We can shoot and do intersection and normals. I mean, it could do sound. It might be fun. And then do some actual game, because that's like a auto rifle, right? So we want some sort of hold down. I think doing the mechanics of holding down the trigger so it fires repeatedly and then be able to like tweak the firing times is kind of pointless without sound or without particle effects. And particle effects is way down on my priority list, along with like decals and bullet holes and stuff like that. So I have already purchased some legit pew 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 noises. So I have a selection of them from, where did I buy them from? I bought them from some audio place. I don't know if it's any good. Sounds Ghost Hack Audio. I googled it and it said I should give them my money, and so I did. So I have a, what did I, hang on, I don't think I'm set up to show anyone, but I can at least list what I've purchased. I bought the Ultimate Sci-Fi Weapons Kit, as well as the Mothership Sci-Fi Foley. So exactly. So we've got plenty of Ultimate Sci-Fi Weapons. Show properties. 100 meg of sci-fi weapon sounds, including single shot and rapid fire bursts. So the Obsidian Barrage, the Oblivion Flux, the Kinetic Hailstorm. They've got some great names. The Gravity Swarm, the Azure Torrent. So yeah, I might pick out some of those and have a play around with them. TBC. Anyway, I've had enough. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me. Much appreciated. It's been great fun, and I will see you all anon.